we say ChatGPT for the lack of there's a bunch of programs now available, but it can very quickly build you the framework. It's technically a full article, but I would call it the framework of a good article, because the good part about it is it can really take into account how a properly structured body of text should be written, and in a way that'll capture people's attention. So for example, if you wanted to write a blog post about something to do with private mortgages, you could literally ask it to do so. What I like about it is then you can also add in your tone. So if you've written stuff without the use of it, you can say add in my tone. It can do a lot more research, and then once you get it and you read it, you can say actually include more from the American markets, include more from left-wing websites, and it can integrate all of those things to give you a very well-written and well-perspective article. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into the Canadian Private Lenders Podcast, a show covering the private lending industry, the mortgage broker space, and the Canadian economy. Your hosts are Neal and Ryan McNeil. Enjoy.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It's episode 73 of the Canadian Private Lenders Podcast with your hosts, Ryan and Neal. Neal, how you going? How you going?
How you going? Better than you today.
Australia over here. How you going?
Things are
that
going.
Was a struggle to start, so I hope things are going for you.
Things are going great.
Good. Going better than me.
Going better than you right now, yeah. You're still recovering slowly.
Yeah, still recovering. I got absolutely crushed by COVID or some cold there a couple weeks ago, so probably can still hear it a bit in my voice, but I feel 100% again, which is nice, but man, I was destroyed.
I think I might have it. I'm just been exhausted every day.
Yeah.
And the group chat with the guys that I just went on a trip with there last week, all of them are like, I'm sick. And
No.
I'm like, is Saturday going to hit? And I'm going to wake up and I'm just going to be demolished. Because I find I do that sometimes when I have a busy week. Yeah. I just force my way through it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, I got nothing on the book Saturday. And my body's just like, bye-bye.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe that's it too, because it hit me. We were at a conference there a couple weeks ago on a Thursday, and then it was Saturday that it hit me as well. And oh man, the chills, I could not warm up.
God,
fever. It was just couldn't sleep for a couple nights. That was the worst part of it.
I can't sleep right now.
Yeah, you're screwed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I went for a run yesterday too, and
cancel everything. Yeah, I couldn't. So I couldn't run. I pride myself on making sure I get my workouts in most days. It's a big part of my routine, and I was full 7 days off. Yeah, training for a half marathon, did not run. Today was my first long run I've had, and that was. It's been almost 2 weeks since I was sick. So
okay.
Prepare yourself.
Next
cancel everything
dead.
in your schedule. Yeah, I'll be solo hosting the next couple episodes. But anyways, all right, let's get into it, Neal, before you drop here.
Yeah.
All right, so this is kind of an interesting one here today, which I don't think we've gone too deep on before, but we're going to talk about how you can enhance your mortgage lending business, and this would apply to brokers as well, with ChatGPT. Okay. So ChatGPT, of course, revolutionizing the AI space, businesses in general. This has become that added admin support, that person you can go to and, it's not a person, I guess, but you can ask questions and get, pretty solid answers or help in terms of efficiency in your business.
Yep.
And this is going to be particularly important in the mortgage lending space if it's not already. Okay.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about how lenders can automate tasks, improve client experience, and develop effective marketing strategies.
Love it.
Okay. So how about you, why don't you go right into some marketing tools that we can use chat for?
Yeah, 100%. And this is something I've used. I actually have about 10 of these saved on my computer right now. I got to send them to you. But blog content creation. So, I mean, a lot of you probably already know this, but we say ChatGPT for the lack of there's a bunch of programs now available. But it can very quickly build you the framework. It's technically a full article, but I would call it the framework of a good article. Because the good part about it is it can really take into account how a properly structured body of text should be written, and in a way that'll capture people's attention. So for example, if you wanted to write a blog post about something to do with private mortgages, you could literally ask it to do so. What I like about it is then you can also add in your tone. So if you've written stuff without the use of it, you can say add in my tone. It can do a lot more research, and then once you get it and you read it, you can say actually include more from the American markets, include more from left-wing websites, and it can integrate all of those things to give you a very well written and well perspectived article. I am finding still though, like I'm without fail having to go through it and I change a couple things.
Sure.
I sometimes I find the one thing I am finding a little bit with it is it doesn't resonate with me as much as I'd like it to. Like a little bit feels. I feel like it's like same thing when you see like an AI photo. It's like 97%.
Yeah.
I still feel that way with
feels
these.
a little off.
Something feels when I'm reading, I can almost tell. But for a lot of people, it gives you the high level.
Yes.
And it fits the build, and it's better than not doing it. So right, it makes it consistent, makes it a lot easier to do these things. It saves you a bunch of time.
Yeah.
The other nice thing is, and this is one thing that I don't think you'll ever learn how to. Well, people probably did, but making things SEO friendly, and written to capture the internet, like that part is something I know there's guys who got professional at it, but like that was something I never considered in my head of like, how is this going to benefit the SEO as I'm typing out something, right? Or saying something.
Totally. So a couple thoughts came to mind there when you said it, but I know someone who has an employee and they know they're using ChatGPT just to respond to every single email. Like, and it's just like, so like, it doesn't even make sense, right? Because it's just being like copy and pasted.
The email responses are obvious too, because it's always like, "Why? Thank you for your time. So grateful of this." And it's like, all right.
I always laugh too. Like you can see, like on iPhone, like if something's been copied and pasted, I don't know, like kind of like shades it differently, and like you just you can catch them on that. But to your point here, doing something is better than doing nothing, right?
Yeah.
So I always found like before I use this tool that blog writing, so it's very important, like you mentioned, like for SEO, extremely important, right? Mm-hmm. But it was intimidating, and it was like almost
very
draining.
time intensive.
It was draining to like
time intensive.
Yeah, just to even think about that, right? Like even though if you're only writing like a 200-word blog, you still have to think about it, strategize, like what content am I going to put in here? Did I word this right? Did I spell the words right? All that stuff, right? This covers, like you said, probably 90 to 97% of it.
Yeah.
You do have to go through. I like, to your point, Neal, I like prompting it with some personal examples or personal experiences just to be like, I want you to write about this, but include these couple things here. Yeah. And like just kind of whatever comes to mind. I try not to spend too much time of it because I want the tool to take the lead and save me time.
Yeah.
But you want to put some kind of personal examples in there, or personal touch on it at least.
There's an art to it. I'm learning as time goes on here. There's an art to being able to utilize AI to its maximum potential.
Yeah.
So exactly, just putting in the right prompts is so important. If you just write me a blog on this, it will do it, but you can make it 10 times better if you put in 3 lines worth of like important information or things that you really need to capture.
Yep.
So anyways, it's the same thing for newsletters. That's what we have on here as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Newsletters, same thing. And like, this has been a big part of our business. I don't want to give away too many trade secrets here, but like blog creation and newsletters, critical.
We're
like
actually AI. This is AI that you're listening to now.
You wouldn't believe how often brokers respond to one of my newsletters rather than like searching my email, starting a new thing. Probably not. But I just find it so funny that like, when they'll get a newsletter and then like later that day or the next day they'll be like, oh, I meant to talk to you about this deal. It's the same as like being present at a conference, right? Yeah. It's just being in front of their face again. So, so newsletters, to your point, Neal, exact same thing. And a lot of this stuff can be recreated too, right? You can use this. You can use it as a blog. You can recreate it as a newsletter. We can make a podcast episode about it, right? We're doing it right now.
Yep.
Right? So, but again, you can personalize this content based on customer segments. And this is one thing that we kind of probably want to expand more so into. We're very much broker focused now, but there's different avenues that we can go there.
Yep.
Like obviously, tailoring mortgage advice to first-time buyers, depending, if you're a broker, or, targeting investors, right? Increasing relevance and engagement, and just, like I said, reminding them that you're there.
Yeah, 100%. So we're kind of touching on this. Like the next thing you can do is enhancing customer service with clients and brokers. I will say, I think the biggest mistake that every company makes is that they just go, okay, we're going AI now, and that's all they want to go with.
Yeah.
I feel like the best way to handle this is, let's say on our website, we start embedding some of these tools that can answer the questions.
Yeah.
But literally right next to it is like, here's the phone number. You're going to talk to a person if you call this number. But for some of your basic, easy questions, throw them in here and maybe they'll give you the answer. Because I bet a lot of people don't want to pick up the phone. Like the newer generation does not want to pick up the phone.
For sure.
And if they have a basic question, they'd rather just type it in there and get the answer.
Right.
But then I know for myself, and I know for also the other big part of the world is like, you just want to speak to a person. Like when I call into any of these brands and it's a ChatGPT bot, or they won't get me off the website. Like the website only option is the GPT bot.
Yeah.
I get so frustrated. It's the most infuriating thing in the world. So anyways, maybe just there's a conversation for you and I, but when we go to embed it, I think we should make it like, try here first, but
Yeah.
if not, don't even worry. There's a phone number here in a second. You're good to go.
Yeah, we I think 3 or 4 episodes ago we talked about chatbots and we both trashed it because it can be so annoying.
So bad.
I don't know if there'll ever be a place for it in our business where a personal touch is required,
No.
right? You know, if you're a big time lender and you're more like cookie cutter approach, like I could see it for that. This, you know, maybe there'll be improvements in it in the future where it's more dynamic and more powerful. But right now it can just lead to a lot of frustration and even potential loss of customers, I think, in certain scenarios, right?
100% think it'd be a potential loss of customers in here. But
yeah. Another important one. Anything else to add on that?
No.
On customer service?
They
yeah.
suck.
Okay. Yeah, they suck. Yeah, they need to get better. Get better or you're out.
yeah.
This one I think is really good. Streamlining internal processes. So this has been a huge focus of us at Keystone since we started to have like written processes in place, even if it's just like a paragraph or 2 paragraphs, right? Or if it's 10 pages with some screenshots, right? Like this stuff is critical, right? Because you're going to have people, as you grow in a business, you're going to have people who are changing roles, or you're going to have a task that you haven't done in 3 months and you forget how to do it, right? So you want to go back. ChatGPT can do a great job of at least giving you the framework for that process, right? You type in the key 3 or 4 steps that you want. It can fill in the blanks. It can expand on your thoughts as well. You know, for example, you know, a borrower could submit their initial loan inquiry. ChatGPT can, you know, generate automatic follow-up emails, or it can be like a thank you note. I've done that before for brokers, right? Like obviously you want to have like a personal touch there so that you don't feel, but you can use that general framework and just kind of move some pieces around or make some slight edits and save yourself those 5 minutes, right?
It'll be interesting to see too as time goes on. And it probably can already, but it can take your processes and just make them better for you.
Absolutely.
Give you some suggestion from other input that it's seeing.
And that's what I do too. Like we had a job posting go up recently, right?
Yeah, it's good for that. It's great for that actually.
Exactly. So you write it out and then you pop it in there and say, how can I improve on this? Right?
Yep.
What did I miss? What should I change? So on.
I think like me hearing this, I'm probably the last of the people who like I still have a bit of hesitation when it comes to tech. Like I don't fully have faith. I'm like that it's going to not miss something or screw something up. I feel like in the next generation, it will have full confidence that like if you run a document through, it's not going to make a mistake. I just still like, but we've experienced the early tech where like there was so many mistakes and things get missed and things get screwed up.
For sure. But you think about us as humans too. We miss shit all the time.
I know. This is learning to let go, I guess.
Right? Yeah.
But,
I know. I hear what you're saying. Another area can be streamlined is document review assistance. So you know, it can assist in reviewing documents like pay stubs, tax returns, flag missing information and inconsistencies before the underwriter reviews the file. You know, I don't know if we're at that stage yet, but this is certainly coming.
It'll start as an add-on, I think, and it'll
sure.
be like, okay, just run it through this. It takes 2 seconds and see what it comes back with.
Exactly.
And as time goes on, it'll slowly be
for sure, and it'll get more accurate. Exactly. And that, of course, you know, with Streamline workflow ensures the underwriting team is getting complete and accurate documents from borrowers.
100%. This is something I like to do with ChatGPT that I've had some help with, is getting over creative blocks. I'll have time even just for basic stuff, like I need to come up with a name for something, or I'm trying to find new content.
Yep.
This is a great way to do it. The other thing that like I've heard from some very successful content creators is you can utilize AI to kind of understand where market trends are going. Like when you look for like what would be good things to write about right now to make content about, you can say, well, based on this trending searches on the internet and like this other content that's trending and what we're seeing people being interested in, this like a 20-second clip on X would be probably your most successful thing to do right now.
Yeah.
And you might be like, oh, well, I was about to spend time trying to prepare something totally different and it's not going to hit at all. So it just helps you to really quickly get a bunch of information, put together all the different data points and say, we think this is your best option.
Yep.
So, and I have a friend who uses this heavily for his social media, and he said it's ramped his numbers up like crazy. Just following, getting the ChatGPT to give him the trending top things, and he'll just pick off the top 5 every time. Yep. And it's just like, he's like, the other ones on the bottom, like he showed me a list. Sometimes I'm like, I think those other ones would be great. And he's like, I'm telling you, if they're saying this is what people are looking at, this is what people are looking at. Like it's following where the attention goes. So to that same point, like social media posts, like it's just social media posts, blogs, anything you can think of that you're going to make that's going to be consumed by other people. It can surprisingly give you a lot of input, even though it's not a person. It has a good understanding because everyone's attention is completely captured on their phones
Yep.
and on their computers. And so it has the data from all that.
Yep.
And that's giving you very accurate real-time answers.
Yeah. And I know I heard from people maybe in ChatGPT's early days too, like, oh, use it to build like your social media calendar, right? Like, and give you like 4 prompts per week, but you still have to do the work, right? Like if it can tell you to do this and this and this on a weekly basis or bi-weekly or whatever, but you still have to go in there and do it. Now, but you can also still leverage ChatGPT for that too, for creating the post, like you just mentioned, right? Or creating a graphic. I haven't had any success with like the visuals yet. I don't know if you have, but
no, I think I showed you the one last time of the Canada versus the States graphic. Both Trump and Trudeau are wearing Canada jerseys.
Yeah.
And I was like, fix Trump's jersey, and then it like swapped both their jerseys, and I was like, okay, it's not that good.
It's not. So, I tried it a few times for, I'd do those posts for like deal of the week or whatever, like tried to like come up with something for that, and it was absolute trash, right? Yeah. So
I have a friend who's used it a bit, and he's had good success with it, but I don't know if he's maneuvering a bit of it himself.
Yeah. There's like Canva has like plugins to ChatGPT too, right? But
that actually was pretty good.
Yeah.
I built a flyer once.
Okay.
And this is kind of funny. It was a real estate flyer.
Yeah.
We were pitching this new development on the ocean front. And I had this image in my head of like the front cover being like the beach with like the tall grass and like probably a couple like horses off in the distance.
Yeah.
Because it was like a horseback riding community.
Is this Sable Island?
And I basically had Sable Island in my head. And I typed that into the Canva.
Yeah.
And the picture that came up, I was like, not bad. And I was like, just make it a little bit windier. And it basically just like added a bit of like movement of the grass.
Yeah.
And I actually used it on the market. Like I was like, damn,
cool.
that actually, and it looked great. Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's my one success. Everything else from there on has been a bit of a nightmare.
Maybe I'm not using the right tools for that yet, but I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Funny, I just mentioned the social media calendar. That was our next point here. So we've kind of already tackled
I
this.
thought you were looking at this when you said that.
No, I wasn't. I just came to mind. I forgot I had it in my own notes here. But, another thing is too, so I use a posting tool called Social Pilot that allows me to like pre-plan like weeks ahead for social media.
Yep.
And this is not really ChatGPT related other than like the caption and stuff like that. But like I'll make a post on Canva, okay? And then you can resize it to fit. I make it usually for Instagram. That's a primary. You can resize it to do LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook as well. And then on Social Pilot, you can just write one caption, click which accounts you want. It has a connect to Canva. So you post your image in and you schedule the time. I'll do this like 3 or 4 weeks in advance, and then I don't have to worry about social media posting for a while. So that's just a bit of an aside, but I found that's a really good tool as well for the amount of money that we pay for it.
That is, it's like, because it is a lot of work. If you don't do it, it's a lot of work.
Absolutely. And, you touched on this, Neal, as well, but like ensuring like variety and engagement, obviously like this is the goal. Like, I mean, engagement's obviously critically important, but I think like the key is just to be present, right? Just to be constantly there. Because how many people do you see out there in our industry across all different types of real estate? They're posting once, or they've got a flurry of posts for 2 weeks, and then they're radio silence for a year, right? Most people. That's you.
That's me.
That's not true. You're more frequent than others, but I'd say consistency, maybe a little bit of work.
I was doing good.
It's not easy. It's not easy, right? Like it's a job to do this, but this stuff's important, and hopefully, using some of these tools, whether it's Canva or Social Pilot or GPT, can help alleviate some of the burden.
Very much,
right?
Yeah, I tend to agree. The tools are there. I'm trying to use them.
Yeah, absolutely. And just one thought before we wrap here too, Neal, that job posting I was just referring to as well. For the first time ever in a job posting, I said experience using ChatGPT preferred. And I thought that was pretty cool.
You're telling ChatGPT to put that in the job.
Yeah, exactly.
Make sure they know how to use you.
Yeah, give yourself a little plug here, Chat. You've done a great job. Neal, anything else to add on that?
No, I think it's something that the way I look at ChatGPT, it's like how Google came into the world, and now everyone has to use it all the time. I think it's the same thing. I think it's just very different, where it's like now you're kind of having a conversation, and you need to outline everything. Like with Google, it's always a one-liner. It's like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, we're having a conversation like, well, what is the population of India? And it's like, well, the reason we're asking that is because we're trying to compare it to China. So it's like, you can go to ChatGPT and be like, how does the population of China compare to India in the way that it's growing and how it's impacting the economy?
Yeah.
And it'll give you the full answer and the full idea of what you're thinking of. Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
But
sure.
anyways.
Yeah, no, so I mean, some great uses here. Of course, we touched on the fact you can improve your marketing, customer service, creativity, and internal processes. So I do encourage you to use some of these tools. Again, reach out to us if you want to talk about how this has been successful for your business or how, we can help you improve as well by using some of these tools or give you the feedback on what we've had experience with. Please do reach out.
100%.
Neal, anything else, buddy?
No, I don't know where we're going to be at this point, but when this gets released, the tariffs will probably be arm deep in Canada.
It'll be 80% tariffs by that point.
Everything will be double the cost.
Yeah, exactly. So
hoping
for the best. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for listening, guys. It's Neal, your co-host and co-founder at Keystone Mortgage Investment Corp and Director of Investor Relations. I'm also a real estate agent, real estate investor, and business owner.
And your co-host and co-founder of Keystone Mortgage Investment Corporation, Ryan McNeil. Keystone MIC is licensed under the Mortgage Regulations Act of Nova Scotia, license number 3000844, and through FCMB, license 89280. Keep in mind, the views of this podcast are for informational purposes only and are not financial advice.